Yes, if you want to be in the photo, no. Well, yeah, if you have it better, because I can see Facebook. Okay. I can see what's going on Facebook. What? You've reached your input limit? Okay, so let me take this one off. Stop. No issue with that one.
Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see you. We're going to begin our service on page 10 with the Nefesh. Oh
Meranana is on page 11.
Suri
Please be seated. We'll continue on page 22 together with Anna Nicole. If you would, Adonai, may your mighty right hand undo the knot that ties us up. Accept the prayers of your people, you who are revered, raise us up and cleanse us. We continue together on page 27, Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat.
Mizmor מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת, 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 טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת, להגיד בבוקר הזך ואמונתך העליונות, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת, עלי הסוף עלי העבר, עלי היום כבליתו, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. צדיק התאמה, שבות מיית. צדיק התאמה יפרח, כלב ברום יזכה שתולי, בבית אדוני לבדו אלוהינו יבריאו, עוגנו בסלע, שקר גרמים בינו יגיד, ישר אדוני צורי ולא עלתו.
Page 29.
Let us rise for Barco, page 39. יום ולילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך, עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך העולמים.
Ahavat Olam, page 40.
אהבת עולם בישראל, אהבת עולם בישראל, אהבת תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. חוקים ומשפטים, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיא מלכותך, ונשמע ונראה ותראה תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי ימנו ואוהב ימינו, ובהם ביומם בלילה. 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 ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל נפשך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על אביך, ושיננתם בניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך וביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרת מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
וישמעו על תשמעו. ואהבתם ולמעטם אותם ולא משתתף יותר. שמעת. ויאמר משה לאמור לבני ישראל ונתן וישראל ציצית.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue praying Mid Chamocha, which you can find on page 44. ופרוסלינו סוכת שלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני, הקורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
תשכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ותעמידנו ברינו לחיים. תשכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ותעמידנו ברינו לחיים.
Let us please rise for the Shamir, page 46.
Shabbat,
The Amidah for Friday night begins on page 47. Please use the words of the Siddur for this silent prayer.
If you finish praying the Amidah, please be seated. We're going to continue with Shalom Rav, page 51.
We continue on page 52. Oh, say Shalom.
Oh, say Shalom. With Roma. Oh, yeah, say Shalom. Aleinu. Ve'alon Israel. Amen. Amen. Yeshme Rabba Mevarach. Me'alam Me'amaya. Yitbarach Yishalach Yitbar V'Mavinaseh. V'Yitadar V'Tadeh V'Tzalah Shemer G'Nesha. V'Refu Le'ela V'Gor Katzah V'Shirata. Tush V'Katzah V'Nechamata V'Ram Me'alba V'Imru. Amen. Tkabach L'Tonavu T'Honavu Yisrael. V'Davah V'Shemaya V'Imru. Amen. Yehishlam Aram V'Shemaya. V'Chayim V'Nebei Kol Yisrael V'Imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Roma. Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Of the many characters and character flaws that I have found of myself, I realized when I moved to California that I had an additional character flaw. Someone told me I had too much hope. And I didn't know having too much hope was a flaw, so allow me to explain. It was my first month of rabbinical school, and I met with a professor after class to talk about the syllabus. And he told me we should continue the conversation at 2 p.m. in his office. So being a good boy from Texas, I showed up at 1:59 at his door, which was closed, and at 2 p.m. exactly, I knocked, knock, knock, knock. No response. And this sounds silly, but I didn't know what to do. Because in Texas, when somebody says, be there at 2, you're there at 1:59, and they don't wait for you to knock, they open the door at 2. So what did I do? I sat down in the lobby, and I waited. And I waited because that's what good Texas boys do. And I thought about going to the door and knocking again, but then I heard my mama's voice in my head saying that would be rude. So I continued to wait, and after about 45 minutes, my professor emerged from his office, probably to go home, and he saw me sitting there, awkwardly, and said, "Jonathan, how long have you been sitting here?" And I said, well, I knocked earlier. And he said, I was on the phone and I guess I didn't hear you knocking. You should have kept knocking. Why didn't you bang on the door? And I said something like, I don't know, I was hoping you heard me, I don't know. And he responded with something I'll never forget. He said, hoping is fine, but sometimes you just gotta act. Waiting is a variant form of hope. And my sermon tonight is not supposed to squash hope, because hope is very important. Hope is vital, and hope is oftentimes life-sustaining. When I think of the word hope, I remember what my friend Ernie Bronstein said. He was a survivor of numerous Nazi death camps, and he used to tell me something very frequently. He'd say, Jonathan, I could always tell when somebody was going to die while they were working in the camps with me. Because if their heart lost hope, their body would soon follow. And within a day or two, they'd collapse into the snow and not get up. It was our hope that kept us going. Hope is mandatory to survival. But I want to suggest something tonight. Perhaps just waiting and just hoping, perhaps both of these things are insincere and perhaps even irrational. I think hope without action is actually fraudulent. So for the past couple days, every morning after Minyan, Dr. Howard X. Kramer has been asking me a movie question. And so far I've been doing pretty darn good, if I say so myself. But now I want to pitch a question to the congregation. Maybe you know this one. What was later added to the title of the 1977 film, which simply debuted as Star Wars? Now, most people who saw Star Wars in 1977 will tell you the film is just called Star Wars. But if you grew up, like I did in the 90s, we will tell you it's not just called Star Wars. It's called Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Now, if you're worried that this is a Star Wars sermon, it's not. But I want to explain to you, in the 90s, George Lucas renamed it A New Hope because he planned on releasing 3 prequel films. And if you watch the 1977 movie, it's all about how Luke Skywalker is supposed to be the, quote, promised one to bring balance to the Force. Now, I want to point out that this is a very common theme in movies and in literature. Even in sacred canonical texts, the idea of one person to bring hope. This shows up everywhere. Every society, every text, you will find this figure. It seems that anybody who's dealing with oppressive circumstances, if you want to write a #1 hit seller, you write about looking toward the future when things are a lot better. And what better way to bring good stuff than a new guy, a new hope? Whether this will be your next king who will pull the sword from the stone and find the Holy Grail, whether this will be the boy wizard who will defeat the evil Voldemort, whether this will be the baby in the basket pulled from the water who will deliver the Jews from Egypt, whether this will be the anointed one who will gather all the lost tribes of Israel and Judah and rebuild the temple, there's always a guy with a plan, and he's right around the corner. Where is he now? Not yet. Just wait. A new hope. That's the way hope is supposed to work. But if you read the book of Devarim, that's not how it works in this very interesting oddball book. Now, this is going to be a little heretical. Hopefully lightning doesn't strike. But I've often wondered why the book of Deuteronomy exists and why it's in the rest of the Torah. If you talk to my Bible teachers in seminary, they will tell you that the book of Devarim is unlike every other book of the Torah. The way it reads, it's read as if it was written much later than the rest of the books. In fact, if you talk to some of my other heretical Bible teachers, they will say that it reads like it was written from much later. If you read the book of Malachim Bet, 2 Kings, there is a narrative about a king named Josiah. I'm really fond of this guy. I named my kid after him. We see that during the reign of King Josiah, this king orders spring cleaning of the temple, and they pull out something very interesting from one of the backroom closets. They bring a giant scroll and they show it to him and they say, "What the heck is this? This is a book of law that we have never seen before." Now, most biblical scholars will assume that is the book of Deuteronomy, and the more heretical ones will say that Deuteronomy was commissioned not when the rest of the Torah was, but much later from the era of Josiah. Is that what's important? I don't think it's as important. I think what the most important theme of Devarim is the idea that it ain't over until it's over. Yes, the promised land is right around the corner. Yes, you're almost home free, but you're still going to have to fight to get it. You have to act. If you look at most of chapter 7, which is from our Parshat this week, Akev, we read that it deals with the idea that the Israelites are going to have to get rid of the current occupants of the promised land before they can move in. It says, Adonai your God will deliver them to you, throwing them into utter panic until they are wiped out. God will deliver their kings into your hand, and you shall obliterate their name from under the heavens. No man shall stand up to you until you have wiped them out. And the rest of the Parsha is a warning to the people saying once you finally do have the promised land, you had better maintain your commitment to God. You have to continue to act. The Jewish commitment to action is ongoing, by the way. Our tradition believes that the first line in the Torah, in Bereshit, is not translated as, "In the beginning God created," but rather a lot of our translations say, "When God began to create." This means that creation is an ongoing process. It's not something that happened. It's something that happens every day. We believe that even God continues to act all the time. This morning when I woke up, I did my annual Facebook check-in, and I saw that Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz had passed away this morning in Jerusalem. Now, if you don't know who Adin Steinsaltz is, or was, allow me to tell you that this man, this rabbi, was the first person of his kind to make the Talmud accessible. For millions of people around the world, he offered a translation that was not some antiquated thing from 1912. He put vowels on the original Vilna text. And for many people, myself included, this is the only way you could access the Gemara. And of course, I was crushed to hear that he passed away, but they started sharing this quote, and it was as if he was trying to preach this sermon for me from the grave. He says, "If I want to test a new car, the way that I test it is not on the smoothest of roads, under the best conditions. To have a real road test is to prove that a car really works. I have to put it under," and I would say this again, "the worst conditions in which there is yet hope. I cannot test the car by driving it off a cliff, but I can test it on the roughest terrain where I must come to the edge of the cliff and have an immediate stop." He asks, how is a plane tested? They put it under nearly impossible conditions which the plane must withstand. Otherwise, the whole experiment doesn't prove anything. He says the same is with creation. Creation would have been pointless unless it was a creation precisely under these difficult circumstances. So I'm saying, theologically speaking, that the worst possible world in which there is hope is the only world in which creation makes sense. I think he illustrates my point better than I do. In order for us to have ongoing creation, we have to have hope. But in order for us to have hope, we have to consistently act. One cannot exist without the other, neither from us and neither from God. Now, allow me to state the obvious. It is not fun to act. A lot of us would much rather not act, not do anything. It's a lot easier to just hope and pray for someone to show up and solve all of your problems for you. It's much easier to escape from your problems by using various substances, alcohol, drugs, hobbies, sports, movies, whatever, people will find it. And it makes it seem like biding the time is easier this way, because in reality, we're just distracted. Living completely distracted, in my opinion, isn't really living. So if you feel like you're simply waiting outside the door of life, just hoping for someone to open it for you, if you're just waiting for that golden opportunity, but you're not willing to bang on the door, if you're not willing to act, unfortunately, the universe could very well pass you by. I understand that we're living in uneasy times, but this is still our time. We can't sit by waiting passively for something to change. We have to help elicit change, and of course, elicit it safely. We have to bang on the door. We have to ask the universe, can't you hear me knocking? Shabbat Shalom.
Let us please rise. We're going to continue with Shalom Aleichem, page 73.
Kiddush, page 76.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafei.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kosho v'ahava u'ratzon hitkilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tefillah namikra'ei kodesh zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'tanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodsheka v'ahava u'ratzon hinhatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Hashem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. We continue praying Aleinu on page 56. Let us please remain standing.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'kavod hakol l'tei tefillah l'Yotzer Bereshit shelo asanu v'yeh haratzot v'lo
Let us be seated. These we will remember with love: Samuel Asus, Ruben Bloomberg, Ruth Boyle, Mo Cohen, Joseph Friedenberg, Abraham Glass, Sidney Glock, Ann Kay, Maury King, Philip Kosofsky, Abraham Coulange, Bernard Kunin, Helmut Louis, Abraham Linder, Jack Luftsheim, Morris Mietzmacher, Michael Mietzmacher, Rachel Perez, Mayor Rosen, Jetta Rubenstein, Warren Rotsky, Sarah Schwartz, Herman Shapiro, Sam Simon, Maurice Stewart, Gertrude Wald, Lilian Slotogura. We're also serving Shloshim for Dr. Sheldon Shore. Mourners and those serving yours, please rise for the Mourners Kaddish, which you can find on page 58. Idgadal v'yikadash shemei rabah. V'alman yibrach limutei v'yamlik malchutei. V'chayechon v'yemechon v'chayeh lechol beit Israel. V'agalam v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabah abrach v'lanu me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. ויתדר, ויתעלה, ויתעלה, שמי וקודשיו תלכו. לעילם מכל מלכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ועמילם יולמה וימלו אמן. יהא שלום הרב עמי שמיה, בחיים עלינו ולכל ישראל וימלו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימלו אמן. Please be seated. I'd like to call upon Jared Finkelstein, President of our congregation, for the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us this evening, both in person and virtually. I invite you to join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Shabbat morning services when Preston Testa Hoffman will be called to the Torah. Again, available both online to help celebrate the Simcha or here in the chapel, here in the sanctuary. A lot of things are going on over the next few weeks. There's the Religious School Open House this Sunday at 9 a.m. The Early Childhood Center, along with Homeschool Pods, USY and Kadima are open for enrollment. Underground Las Vegas starts Monday, August 17th at 4 p.m. It's one Sunday a month, and students will discuss relevant topics and then participate in mentor-led field trips around Las Vegas. We also have our classes with chair yoga and boot camp with Liz on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Tuesday for yoga, chair yoga, Thursday for boot camp. We also have Intro to Judaism starting on Monday, August 17th at 6 p.m. If you're interested in conversion or interested in learning more about your tradition, this class is for you. And if you are interested or planning a conversion, please contact the office. We also have, I think, a very interesting and exciting conversation with Rabbi Goodman and Dave Nichols. That'll be on Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Via Zoom. Right? For those of you who have not met Dave, he is the pilot of Israel's Olympic bobsled team that's looking to qualify for the Winter Olympics. He also happens to be a hockey goalie, and you should ask him about having the first shutout in Golden Knights history if you don't know about that. So again, I think it's a very inspiring story. We are very fortunate to have Dave as a member of our community and our congregation. And if that's not enough, the High Holy Days are fast approaching. An email and letter went out this week. I urge you to read it. If you're not on our email list yet, please call the office to sign up for our emails. There will be a lot of information coming over the next few weeks relating to the High Holy Days. If you have not renewed your membership or have not joined our community, I urge you to do so. I want to thank those members who have taken advantage of our enhanced membership categories, which help fund membership for those in our community who cannot afford to pay full dues. And so again, please take a look at that if you're able to. And if you know of a temple member who is in the hospital, ill at home, or in a nursing home, please contact the temple office to let us know. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jared. We're going to conclude our service on page 211 with Elohim, followed by our blessing and Shabbat At this time, let's all come together as a congregation. If you came with somebody this evening, you can actually embrace them. Do not attempt to embrace someone with social distancing. We can embrace each other at distance, and that's actually something that we do with our souls and with our hearts. Let's not allow distance to interrupt our feelings for one another, and of course, how we feel about this beautiful day, Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom ומבורך.
Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom